And welcome back to another episode of JP and the Beanstalk.
You bet. There's a great energy in the gym. We're here. We're dry. We survived a flood attempt. Can't even stop us.
2 flood attempts.
Can't even stop us. That's right. Take that, water. We beat you.
Suck it.
That's right. This is why Aquaman will never win, because water eventually goes away.
It's true. Sun dries it out.
That's right.
Yes.
I think my
For you, a shot back.
my logic is flawless. I will be taking no questions at this time. So, hey, it's great to be here. It's great to be with you, my dear sweet beans. High and dry, right where we want to be, and a chance to get into another exciting pod for the people.
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Let's flip and do it. Okay, today's episode, we have a nice, unexpected gift of a bevy of news on the DC front that we're going to unpack and get into. Okay, those little nuggets of information continue to get dropped. We're officially in the thick of the summertime. All right. So again, we're fresh off of Supergirl. We're inching closer and closer to that next Spider-Man movie. Oh boy. Oh boy. And we'll just kind of do a little heat check, see where we're at on the summertime fun. All right. And then of course, we're going to continue our trek through round 2 of the MCU today. Doctor Strange. Let's get weird. And then of course, another classic JP and the Beans top 5. Beans, are you excited?
Always.
Are you ready?
I am as awake as I can be. So,
Well, done a lot of traveling this weekend,
Yes.
so we are here and technically conscious.
So if-
how lucid
I'm gonna
we
say,
are?
if we're a little slower than usual, there's a reason for it.
There's long pauses. The audio has not failed.
It's not drugs.
It's not drugs. We're not just staring deeply into one another's eyes.
No, it's from we stare deeply
sheer
at the road
windshield fatigue.
for far too long.
Oh my goodness. Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. Well, let's flip and get into it, okay? DC news. DC Animation dropped for us a handful of new projects that had yet not been announced. Okay, I'm going to rip these off real quick. I'm going to start with the one that I'm easily the least excited about. There's going to be a crypto show. It's going to get on this. It's going to get on this right now. Stop it.
It's for the kids, isn't it?
I hope so, but like James, we know you love your dog. You love that he reminds you of crypto, and you love putting crypto in everything. But we're going to have to reach a limit here. We're just going to have to, where we stop putting the pets into everything. And I'm not a pet hater, but I'm also not a pet all the time, always kind of person. We're going to have to meter it here, right? Oh man, I'm already getting negative. That's too bad. Let's get more fun.
Setting the tone.
More fun immediately. There's a new show called Joker, Laugh Riot. We're going to circle back to that in a moment. And then an animated adaptation of the Absolute Batman comics line. Okay? So 3 new shows. I think I made it clear which one I'm not excited about already. Sorry for those of you that are for it. And hey, maybe it will be a great show for the kids. But Joker, Laugh Riot. Okay, the basic synopsis there is we're getting an alternate take on Gotham City where Batman has been murdered and Joker's going, well, wait a minute. It wasn't me. Who is it? Tries to figure out who it is that killed Batman. And in the meantime, spirals maybe further into insanity because he doesn't have his anchor. He doesn't have his Batman to know what to do with himself. That's an intriguing premise.
And it's an anime.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think it's, let's see, the folks for Warner Brothers that were behind the War of the Rohirrim Lord of the Rings movie. It's like a Lord of the Rings prequel that came out, I want to say 3 years ago now. It looked sweet. I heard great things about the animation. I did not hear great things about the story in and of itself. So it seemed like one of those concepts that was great in theory and just didn't quite land the execution. But I like where they're starting. That seems pretty fun.
Yeah, synopsis seems interesting. I just hope that they do not make the Joker lovable. I want him to stay in the villain lane. You know what I mean? Don't redeem the Joker. He's an irredeemable character.
Yeah.
So leave it at that. That's my only request. But it will be...
Yeah.
It should be a lot of fun to watch him just go 1v1 with all the other Batman villains and just put on a show.
Right. Let me read for you the official synopsis, okay? When Batman is murdered, the Joker launches a ruthless crusade through Gotham's underworld to find the killer who took away his greatest adversary. But as his violent quest, that's an important, distinction there, not just a quest, it's a violent one. That sounds very Joker-ish. For answers, pushes him closer towards vigilante than villain. Joker is forced to confront the truth that without Batman, he doesn't know who he is. So we're going to get teased a little bit there. I think they're going to try. They're going to try and make him, to use your word, lovable.
Don't do that.
I don't think they're going to lean fully into it, though. I don't think they're that nuts. Are they that nuts? I don't think.
I would love it if they like are like, oh, we're going to do it. And then all of a sudden he just kills 5 people. That would be like the way to do it is, but just, it's like a heat check.
He's going to think about it and go, maybe no, not going to.
Literally somebody just walks into his line of vision and says nothing to him, just back of the head. Yes.
Yeah. That sounds much more in line. Much more in line. I still have yet to give myself the gift of reading Absolute Batman. Everybody that I've spoken to that has gotten into it has very much enjoyed it. This is typically my approach, though, with comics. I'm usually a few years later kind of person. Like, I like allowing the entire run to, unintended here, run its course so that I can consume the whole kit and caboodle in one fell swoop as opposed to doing it piecemeal. So more power to those of you that are the true believers and that are like following it faithfully issue by issue. That's just never been my chosen rhythm to do it. But so I feel both good and cautious, let's say, about this. Okay. It's obviously a well-renowned run. That's great. It's also still ongoing. Like, this seems way too soon to be doing an animated adaptation. But then I question myself. So I'm waffling hard on this because I'm going, well, we've called for a greater synergy, right, between film works, whether they be animation or live action, and the comics. So maybe that synergy is good. I think it's an open question. I don't actually know. So like I said, I'm waffling. I'm going back and forth on this one.
So for me, I am actually genuinely impressed that they're like pulling the trigger this quick because it is very successful.
Yep.
I come from a world of watching a lot of anime.
Yep.
Okay. And one of the anime that I am watching is Bleach, which is just a bunch of people with swords. It's like Soul Reapers.
Okay.
Like, or let me rephrase that. Like, yes, that is what they call it. I meant to say it's like Grim Reapers.
Okay.
Is like the take on it, and they fight bad Grim Reapers, right?
There you go.
So that's the whole.
So there's good Grim Reapers out there?
It's just a whole lot of people. It's like samurais fighting all the time.
Sure.
Except they're ghosts. Yeah. It's weird. Okay.
It works. I saw Samurai Jack on Cartoon Network back in the day.
Yes. So great pull.
Thank you.
Here's the thing with anime, and I'm just using this as an example because I'm watching that currently.
Yep.
When anime usually gets released, it's like a year or two after the manga really has taken off, right?
Yep.
And then they announce it.
Right.
What happens, though, is it takes a lot less time for that show to catch up to where the book's at, right? And you can look at Game of Thrones as another example of this, right? Where they catch up to the books and now they don't know where to go.
Yeah, then you're stalled out.
Anime has the horrible, horrible trend of when they catch up to the books, they just are like, well, we don't want to keep the story going because we don't know where the story is.
Don't want to come up with our own.
So we're just going to do what we call filler. So they give you like 20 to, it depends on like how long it takes for the book to get far enough ahead, right? But it's a bunch of story that doesn't matter and does not affect the show.
Oh, geez.
So for Bleach, and I bring this one up specifically, I was watching that all the way through. Arc is fantastic, okay? Then all of a sudden, filler. And I'm like, oh, this is very abrupt and very hard.
Yeah.
So then I watched the first section and then gets back into it. Right. And then it did it again. I'm like, okay, I'm skipping this because this show's been out for a while now. Mind you, this is 40 to 60 episodes of this arc that doesn't matter. And I don't want that to happen for this. So I'm going to be very curious on how they handle that. Because, again, anime doesn't take breaks, so this might take a break after a first season and be like, oh, we're going to just do 10 episodes based on the first 5 issues. Because if they take it nice and easy, they might be just okay. But
in terms of their pace and how, what kind of a tempo they're looking to establish.
Yeah, for a more like popular like comparison with the Game of Thrones, for instance, it was so good up until the point where they got caught up to the books. And then guess what happened? It was rough and gross. And not a lot of people liked that last season. Me included. Okay, the last 2 seasons struggled because, again, they got caught up. So it is very early for this. So I'm hoping they have a very good plan. But I'm super excited to see it. Although there is no way this is going to be directed towards kids either.
Oh, no, not even a little bit.
Because this is a very dark storyline.
Yeah.
So, have you seen any of the pictures of their takes on villains?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Joker is insane.
Yeah.
The Scarecrow, that was gnarly.
Yep.
They've teased Clayface a little, also gnarly. So it's just like, holy crap. I'm excited for a show on this, but I'm also horrified.
Yeah. The piece that gives me the most reassurance that it's going to be worthwhile is that Scott Snyder, who's the author of this run, okay, and then his primary artist, Nick Dragotta, are both a significant part of this show. So Snyder is going to be the showrunner and executive producer for the show. And then Dragotta has a role as a producer. So there's direct input coming from the two individuals that have been, the main fuel behind this very robust fire, right? And so now that doesn't tell us what's going to happen 5 years from now. I think what it gives me some reassurance of is that it'll at least get off to a strong start. As to how will it resolve? Will that be a satisfying, resolution? Very much an open question, right? Because nobody, to use your point with Game of Thrones, nobody after the first 3 seasons was going, oh, this is going to peter out, right? Like it had all the momentum in the world. And I think at that point, correct me if I'm wrong, but George R.R. Martin was still involved in some capacity, right? Like at least advising the show. I mean, they were drawing heavily from the existing source material at that point. And let's either or, okay? Point is they had the source material they needed to keep going. And this is one of the hardest things for any TV show is to know when to be done, right? So few TV shows end soon enough. Most TV shows outlive their welcome. Like pick your genre. That's just a common misfortune that shows tend to run into. So I'm intrigued here. And again, I'm simultaneously going, ooh, that looks really neat. And ooh, that's really soon.
Yeah, and it's weird too, though, because Game of Thrones was almost the opposite where they needed to stretch it out.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think Martin left after season 5 or 6.
Okay.
So those last 2 seasons where you can feel the full drop off, he was no longer present.
Just totally without their anchor at that point.
But hearing Scott Snyder's involved and knowing what direction he wants to go with the books, that's a genuine good sign for the show. When is did they give a release date on it?
They have not. No, they've really been loose with, and this has been a DC, I would say, pattern now. They've been very loose with tangible release dates. It's been, this is coming. You're like, okay.
This is worse than Marvel.
It is. No, it genuinely is.
At least Marvel gives you a rough timeline, and then they are completely open and honest if it just falls through.
Yeah.
This is like, see what comes out. It's like, why? Why would you do it that way?
Yep. Very much so. Listen, if this is going to work, it's going to work because of that synergy and because of what the part that's making me nervous, which is how soon it is or how little distance exists between the origin of this particular comic line and the animated show, right? Because for all of us, whether we are current comic readers or if we're someone who doesn't yet have an entry point, often it's a movie or a show that provided that initial introduction to the character, right? And so what better, in that sense, what better way to introduce fans to a comic than one that's ongoing, right? It's like, hey, you can go read this now. I mean, I think Invincible has gained some of that momentum, right? Like maybe there's a positive comp there with show and comic.
Yeah, Invincible has been highly regarded on the show front. And I haven't seen the show. I've heard good things from other people that I trust.
Yep.
And they have taken a little bit of liberties with some of the stuff to change up, right? Yep. But for the most part, it's pretty much like panel for panel, which that's honestly my request for this absolute Batman run as well. Just go off of what's working.
Yep.
This is where I tend to struggle sometimes with like movies and stuff that are adapting things. It's like, I know that I know the ending, and that's completely okay because I want to see it play out in a movie format. Like, I've never understood why somebody would be like, oh, we need to change the ending or blah, blah, blah to make people interested. It's like, no, you already have such a good story.
Yeah.
Why on earth would you change any of it? And that's why, back to anime, that's why I like a lot of anime, is because they rip it straight from the manga.
Yeah.
Like, if you go read it, it's the same story, just a different format.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I actually enjoy that
yeah,
aspect. So that's what I'm hoping for from this.
right. Well, and certainly, like, if you're a movie, okay, so we just, not that long ago discussed Captain America Civil War, right? And Civil War is an obvious nod to the comic of the same name. The movie and the comic could almost not be more different, right? The only thing similar is that you have Captain America and Tony Stark on opposite sides of an issue. But as far as what that issue is and how it plays out, these are two wildly different, different stories serving different, in a lot of ways, different purposes. And so at that point, you're just better off, I think, just don't even use the name, right? Civil War or even Winter Soldier. Maybe that one's a little more forgivable, but it just gets, it raises more questions than it does provide synergy.
So. Right. Well, I mean, even when this new Spider-Man movie being called Brand New Day, there's so many like, oh, this is going to happen and this is going to happen. It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
I hate to break it to you, but it's not.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, for sure. The other news that came out, we already knew, hey, Mr. Miracle, that show is still in development. So they showed a little more additional footage during this recent news release. The Batman Nightfall story is getting a trilogy of animated films.
Have you seen the trailer for the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't look too bad.
No, it looks good. Like, it all looks good.
Yeah.
Truly, it all looks good. And that's something that has certainly been a strength of Warner Brothers and DC, is their animated
for the most
works are usually solid. There's obviously some misses in there, but certainly more hits than misses. Okay, without question, the biggest takeaway from this whole news release was that any actor and actress that is providing a voice role for these animated...
Well, at least Mr. Miracle.
Right, for Mr. Miracle, yeah, Absolute Batman set in its own universe. But in general, when you're getting what's presented to you is the canon version of that character. If that canon character is showing up in an animated work, they're going to be played by the same actor or actress that's portraying them in the live action movies as well. And that's a bold choice. It's going to be hard to pull off and stay consistent with, right? Because every one of these actors and actresses is trying to work often as much as they possibly can. So I understand it takes less time to do voice work than it does to do live action work. But I think there's been a reason why you haven't had actors and actresses doing both in the past. It's just difficult to pull off. Now, if they can do it, more power to them. It's not a bad thing.
Frank Grillo is the only one we've seen so far that's done it, right? Because they said that way back, Creature Commandos, Creature Commandos, if they ever show up in live action, which who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But a lot safer to say that about that show, probably, because you don't know when it's going to...
Oh, you're forgetting Sean Gunn as Weasel.
Oh, yes. But that happened prior.
Yeah.
So... Yeah, it actually, but it helps you in a way, like dial in your head, like what route they could possibly be going with for those characters. Because if you're doing voice actors and actresses, it could be anybody, really. But for this, you're like, oh, maybe we can actually dial in, because it sounds like they have their people dialed in for at least Mr. Miracle, Barda, and Darkseid. So that's the one I'm excited for the most, is the voice of Darkseid. Because guess what? That is going to be mainly voice. You don't need that person to come in and stand in and be the physical embodiment as well, right? So I am way more concerned about the voice of Darkseid. That's going to be sick. But I would be very curious to see who they cast as Mr. Miracle and Big Barda. For sure.
Yeah, and I think you already said this, but for the sake of redundancy, it sounds like they've already got those roles committed. They just haven't gotten to the point where they're willing to announce who it is that's in those roles. Did you read that the same way when you saw that news?
Okay. Yes. Yeah, Because the dynamic of those two live action will be hilarious.
Correct.
Right. Because what? He's
Correct.
like 5'6".
He's like an average sized dude.
So
but Big Barda
5'9".
like lives up to her name.
She's like 6'8".
She's a unit, man.
And
she is
muscle.
Tall. Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
So I just those two
She's
together.
NBA power forward sized.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That should be very interesting to see on screen for sure.
No question. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing where I'm at overall with all this news, and there's one more piece that we got to swing back to here. So I won't skip it. But the challenge that's in front of DC right now is being productive, right? And in particular, being productive on the live action front. We know that they can churn out animated works, right?
Right.
Known, understood. So the only difference that we're really seeing efforted here is an attempt to sync up some of this animation with the live action. That's great. You got to have the live action pumping out. And I think one of the trickiest things that James Gunn is efforting here that nobody else has efforted before him, and with good reason, it's unprecedented. And everybody else looks at that and goes, hard pass, impossible. James is saying, I can do it. It's an open question. Can you get enough live action that's quality produced? Because without high caliber live action, nobody's going to give a rip if the animation ties into the live action, if the live action's not worth tying into. Right? Everybody's been okay as a fan with having a disconnect between animation and live action. So if you're going to make this effort, you got to be productive on the live action side. And I'm not saying, therefore, hey, churn out 4 movies a year. But like you and I have said, you got to get a couple a year out there on a regular basis.
Right.
And I'm just not sure that Clayface is really going to count in that respect. Like, I'm serious. It seems so niche, right? Like, it's a horror movie. It's a body horror movie. And so we're getting Supergirl and Clayface. It's like, okay, you can do that once, but then starting in 2027, it's like, you better be churning out that 2 feature film pace with core characters where it's not niche. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you are going to need lanterns to save you right now.
There's
because
no doubt. Yeah, there is no doubt.
We talked about Supergirl not being a bad movie.
Right.
And by the way, some of the comments on one of those clips, we were getting roasted, which is hilarious. But
it is hilarious.
It's like,
which is okay in the sense of,
that's your opinion.
Like it? Good for you.
That's your opinion.
Yep.
But I think the hang up for this, though, and it proves by the box office numbers, is she's just not the box office draw. Not right now.
No.
Like, if you build her up, and we talked about this with like She-Hulk and all these other characters, right? That it's just like, why are you giving these guys a show when they have not had? They don't have the credibility
on the title card,
right?
Yep.
Like even Moon Knight, right?
Correct.
So to do that, and then to go from Supergirl, and then you're even going down even more of a niche route with Clayface.
Yeah.
Look, lanterns, that should be your prime time right there. That's your other big gun, right? So you better hope and pray, and you better market the crap out of that show because that's what is going to get you back up here.
Yep.
So I'll be very, very curious on how well Lanterns does, because if that doesn't do great and it's Clayface next, I'm sorry, but 27 does not look does not look good for you.
Yeah.
It looks bleak.
Yep.
And even if it is quality, right? But we go to Mr. Miracle. Okay,
but it's animated.
And C-list. D-list character. No offense to Mr. Miracle.
Yeah.
But he's on the lower end.
Letter that doesn't start with A or B, C at best.
Yeah, C at best. C on a good day. Probably F on a bad day. Right? So it's just, and they're probably banking on Darkseid, right? For that more than anything would be my guess, because Darkseid is an S tier character. But it's just like, oof.
You got to have the live action productivity to anchor the synergy that you're seeking with the animation.
They're almost being a little too loose.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid it's going to bite them in the butt.
Yeah. There's a real path where that happens. Certainly hope that's not the case. But there's a very real path where that happens. And again, it doesn't help. I know that, okay, there's a Batman movie coming out. It's not connected to any of this. Yeah. It's its own island. So again, it just doesn't count towards the momentum that you're seeking to build with a connected, in sync universe. So we'll see, man. We'll see.
It's looking a little rough.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, as of this second. And again, are there things that you can draw from? Absolutely. Like we said, Millie Alcock was great as Kara Zor-El, right? As Supergirl. David Cornsweet is a phenomenal Superman. So you've got some key wins to build from. You've casted these movies very well, but you've got to get them produced. You got to get them out there. And that remains, again, loose is a good word for it with lack of a timeline. Okay, last bit of news that we didn't hit on yet. Our guy, Jimmy, do you think he pronounces his last name Tatro? I choose to believe it's Tatro.
Sure.
I knew a Tatro back in the day.
I'll believe you.
Andrew
I'll
Tatro.
take it.
Great guy. So we're going to give Jimmy the benefit of the doubt here. Has been cast as Gorilla Grodd. And what's his first appearance going to be? Well, that's right. Another series, not animated, at least it's live action. Oh, that's right. It's the show around Jimmy Olsen. So we're still doing this. This.
Remember when it was just a rumor? It's like, we don't know if that's actually going to happen.
Apparently it's very
it was getting shut down. Yes. I believe even Gunn was like, no. And now it's like, oh no, it's happening.
Yeah.
I
love Jimmy Tatro. Everything I've seen him in, he's been highly enjoyable. So this has nothing to do with Dear Sweet Jimmy.
I'm nervous that this was not the right casting choice.
Mm-hmm.
And now I know that I'm talking about a talking gorilla. Okay, so it's gonna be ridiculous, but I don't think that's the right person because Grodd is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
If he's done correctly, Grodd is a force.
Sure.
And everything I've seen that guy in has been comedy or comedy adjacent.
Yep.
Which, hey, look, some of these comedy actors, they'll surprise you. I'm sure. I remember with Heath Ledger getting casted and
yep.
I'm blanking. Tom being casted as Bane.
Oh, Tom Hardy.
Yes. Sure. Hardy was also questionable at that point in time, right?
Yeah.
And it worked out. I think obviously for Heath Ledger, I think for Hardy, I think it worked out for the most part, right? For what the story they were trying to tell.
Correct.
But please don't make him corny. It's a talking gorilla. It's going to be a little corny, but don't make it corny. That's my ask.
Yep.
I'm really nervous about that show.
Yeah.
In its whole, because.
With good reason.
Yeah. And Jimmy Olsen, I liked the guy who played Jimmy Olsen. He did great in Superman.
Yeah, Scott was awesome.
I don't think I want a show where he leads. Not right now.
Yeah.
Yep. But it's feeling less and less like the DCU and more like the Superman U as we continue to go through. Because I'm like, you have other characters.
Yeah.
So why are we getting a Jimmy Olsen spinoff?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Listen, I've never made a movie in my life. Probably never will. Not planning on it anytime soon. Put it that way. From what I pretend to think I know, right, in just trying to understand how that sausage gets made, it's an extraordinarily collaborative effort. Like the sheer volume of folks that it takes to get a feature film produced is enormous, right? And if you need a point of reference, just think of the last time you saw the credits roll after a movie. There's a lot of names there. It takes a while to get through all of them, okay? So when it's that collaborative, it becomes dangerous when one person gets too much control over what the narrative will or won't be at times, okay? It's like Zack Snyder. He can make some phenomenal looking movies, but he has yet to find a partner in his filmmaking life that can come alongside him and help shepherd a story that isn't full of plot holes. He hasn't done it. He hasn't done it. Maybe you could say, oh, he came kind of close to 300. Yeah, well, he had Frank Miller's graphic novel to work with there. So that was his safety net. Man of Steel, Christopher Nolan was present as a producer, and there's still plenty of holes in the logic of that movie, right? And then the less and less that he was shepherded, the more and more he was allowed to go his own way, it got more and more loose. James Gunn is a very gifted filmmaker. Okay, that's great. Does he have a partner that's helping him shepherd this? I know in theory it's Peter Safran, right? But when these are the kind of shows that we're getting, I'm genuinely worried that, hey, we don't have the right partner here. It's a concern.
You're good. Keep going.
Okay. Get a little hot.
Well, I just forgot to turn it on.
Okay.
So.
Hey, now it'll be good.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So that's, and when we keep seeing so little in terms of tangible release dates, and you can tolerate a questionable on the front side announcement, like really that show, really that character. The problem is the quantity is growing. Like that is the pattern that we're seeing, is the announcements where we're going, really. And I'm just not sure right now there's a strong enough co-voice with James Gunn to say, hey man, you've got 8 pretty out there ideas. Pick your favorite one and we'll do it. And in the meantime, not in the meantime, and as the primary focus, we need to hit these targets. Now, it's entirely possible, like a week from now, 2 weeks from now, we're going to get some additional announcements about, hey, here's a Wonder Woman movie that's moving forward with production. Here's your new Wonder Woman. Here's the new director. There has been some rumblings about who is writing that movie. So there's, in theory, things moving forward. But we've got to start having those core pieces moving forward, getting announced to help balance out the reallys. We got to have some foundation getting laid here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we really do. So, Jimmy, love you. Hope it works out, Mr. Tatro. Big fan. Okay, last little bit of news here. Listen, I know you didn't watch it, but I put it in here on the rundown anyway. Dune Part 3 dropped another trailer, Beans.
Yeah, I didn't watch it at all.
Let me tell you.
Are you hyped?
Oh.
Is that a no?
I don't know what to do with it. Like, you know what? Loose is evidently just the word of this podcast, okay? You want to use the word loose with that trailer? I watched, I went, I have no idea what's going on here. No idea. You're going to watch that. All I ask is you watch it once, and I can't think of a trailer that would make you want to watch that movie less than this one. Now, so I say it for that personal bit of enjoyment that I get to have seeing your reaction to that. The other thing that I'll say, though, is remember this movie? What is this, like the third freaking trailer? Like we've had a teaser, and now this is the second full-length trailer we've had, I think,
for
this movie. You know what else comes out that weekend?
Here we go.
Right?
Doomsday.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if there's one thing that Warner Bros. Is at least efforting well, it is the marketing for that weekend. Now, maybe Doomsday can just drop the mic with the trailer and go, hey, calm down, we're fine. And yes, people are still going to go to it. But I'm just personally annoyed that we're 3 deep into the Dune movie and we're teasers deep into Doomsday.
Yeah,
there's my little whine for the pod.
I think last pod did we predict like a week after at the earliest for Spider-Man?
Right.
So August. We'll get it in August, pal. It'll come and it'll blow our minds. Yeah. Or how funny would it be if it's just Doom, just like this, just sitting down with on his throne and just staring off into the distance, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah. I'd be bothered, but okay. Okay, moving on. Hey, let's talk MCU round 2, phase 3. Today's episode, Doctor Strange.
What a loose movie.
Wow. Yep. Super loose. Also, I love how often in this movie we hear the word zealot. Okay. Not a word you hear enough. And you know what? There's actually good reason for it. Usually when the word zealot gets used, it's in a really negative context.
Oh, yeah, usually. Yeah,
like our dear sweet Caecilius here in this one. Okay, so to set a little context, Doctor Strange came out November 4th, 2016. So again, we're almost 10 years since Doctor Strange came out. Captain America Civil War came out earlier that year on May 6th of 2016. We would not get another Marvel feature film until Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which would come out on May 5th of 2017. So Doctor Strange marked the second MCU feature film in the year 2016. A little bit of context on the box office side, okay? 2016 worldwide box office, Captain America Civil War ended the year on top, crossing the $1.1 billion threshold. Absurd. Relatively hot on its heels was Rogue One, a Star Wars story. I forgot that came out in 2016.
Hey, Mads Mikkelsen is in that too.
Yes, he is. Good here for our guy Mads. There are actually some phenomenal movies that came out in 2016 and some movies that came out in 2016. Here's what I mean by that. Finding Dory came out in 2016. That was delightful. That was a great follow.
Solid movie.
Really fun. Really, really fun. Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. Also came out in 2016. Didn't quite cross the $1 billion threshold, but finished 7th overall in the
on name alone.
Yep. What do you think came in at number 9 on the global box office?
Oh, geez.
Deadpool.
Wow, that was 9th. When did that come out though? In 2016.
Oh, geez.
Oh wait, actually, I have the ticket right here.
Yep.
February.
Yep. Okay, I was gonna say March.
February
12th.
And it was at. Wow, I'm actually surprised it was that low.
It's still pretty good.
Yeah,
still really good. Just shy of 800 million worldwide. That's absolutely crazy.
For how low their budget was, yes, 100%. That's a definite big win.
It's a huge win. The first Suicide Squad movie came out in 2016. Easy. Rough. That came in at number 10 on the box office spot. Doctor Strange clipped in at 11, okay, on the worldwide box office.
Wow, Suicide Squad beat it. That's tough.
Yeah, that is a little tough. But I would still say Doctor Strange is clearly the better movie there. Doesn't take a lot, low bar. Moana. Hey, do you know there's a live action coming out just 10 years later?
Keep going.
Okay, moving on.
Keep going.
X-Men Apocalypse came out in 2016.
Wow. A lot of superhero stuff that year.
A lot. There are a lot. Like there's.
This is when I understand the fatigue a little bit.
Yeah. But a lot of good to great movies. Star Trek Beyond, the third movie in that trilogy, came out in 2016 as well. The Ghostbusters reboot, that's hilarious. Yeah. Hacksaw Ridge, that was a phenomenal movie. Not very high on the box office, but great movie nonetheless. So, okay. Enough with the context. That's where Doctor Strange came in at the 11th spot. So still strong. Certainly a challenge when you're doing an origin story for a new character and a new actor in that role. New actor to the role, I should say. Benedict Cumberbatch, well established. But I don't know that he necessarily brings name recognition to the role in the same that other actors would, at least not stateside, right? Like he's done plenty of things up to this point. He's been in Sherlock. Sherlock was probably what gained him the most just public notoriety. He was the voice of Smaug in the Hobbit movies. That was fun. So anyway, there he is. There's your context. Beans, without further ado, what'd you think of this one on the rewatch?
It's not a bad movie.
No,
by any means.
Some people really love it. Like some people champion it as one of their favorite MCU movies.
I won't do that.
I've never been able to get there either. But I'm not disparaging those who do. I'm just going, it just doesn't quite do that for me.
Well, it's a slow start.
Very.
That first 25 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm okay, get to the point here, right? Not a bad start, but we were wasting a lot of time there in the middle of that to get from point A to point B.
Yep.
We just were. You cut some of that out, maybe it's a little bit better, maybe a little bit faster paced. It's trippy. Mm-hmm. It's definitely a trip. I found it interesting that they already were talking about the multiverse. This is the actual first
dialogue around the multiverse.
Yes, this is the first mention of the multiverse.
Yep.
And it makes me actually appreciate the second Doctor Strange a little bit more because this actually makes sense why you chose him to go down this route.
Sure.
Because of how heavily invested you made this in the first movie.
Yep.
I think the villain, unfortunately, is very forgettable, which is a damn shame because Mads Mikkelsen is a phenomenal actor.
Correct.
And I feel like you wasted him on a role like this.
Yep.
You just did. That dude should be playing somebody higher level, right?
Mads is not bad in anything that I've ever seen him in. He's been in some like bad movies or he's been underutilized.
Yes.
But he's never been the problem.
Well,
like Rogue One, Star Wars story. Okay. He does phenomenal in that role.
And this is not a shot at the guy either. He just looks like a supervillain.
Yes, he does.
He looks like a supervillain.
The dude is made to be a supervillain.
Right. Like, let him be that. And I just think him being the zealot here, like, okay. Like a cool premise, and I like how that's like the character's motivations, but I think you could add somebody different for this. And honestly, you could have had Mads be your Dormammu if you wanted to, for example, right? Like, and I'm not like championing that for him to be in that role, but he could be that level of a villain for you.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping somebody uses him as a villain later down the line. Maybe Mongol DC, get on that.
There you go.
You're welcome. But I couldn't not think about that while watching this movie, right? I just was like, oof, that's a bummer.
Totally.
Another thing that bums me out after watching this movie, Baron Mordo, phenomenal in this movie. Yeah. And such a, like, the fact that they took him out of the second one practically, right? And then we just don't really get him. His journey is honestly fascinating at the end of this because he's like, I'm going to go down a different path. So I would love to see that descent into darkness because that should be the route you go on, right? Because Mordo is such a phenomenal villain for Doctor Strange.
Chiwetel Ejiofor does a great job in that role. And maybe like right there with Stephen Strange, like those two characters are probably the best part of the movie in terms of the character development that you get to see with each of their characters. Continue.
Well, in that regard, though, too, that could be another Thor and Loki-esque relationship.
Very much
Not to the high level that relationship is, but you can get it dang near close to being on par with that, just because of how well they built the relationship up in this movie for them to diverge. You're like, oh, what's going to happen when they meet again? Like, where's Mordo going and doing? So it's such a shame that they didn't do anything with that in the second movie. But I thought it was a solid movie, very slow at points. The humor on the second time around felt very forced.
Correct.
This is where I could finally feel like, oh, this is why people are saying Marvel is getting too on the humor side. You watch this and you're like, this feels super forced. Like Wong is hilarious. And there is like a few couple one-liners that got me, but like when it's the one where Strange tells him a joke and Wong doesn't laugh at all, and he's like, man, that always kills at work. And he's like, yeah, is that because you're telling that to the people you're in charge of?
Yeah.
That was the funniest line. Yeah. But that's Wong, right?
Also, best casting in the entire MCU because you cast Benedict Wong as Wong.
Oh, he's phenomenal.
Incredible.
Steals the show.
Yeah.
By a mile. Yeah.
Wong is Wong. It's like, that's great.
So I really enjoy him throughout all of his appearances. So it's, they have the pieces, right, to get there. I also thought it was such a weird slip where, like, towards the end of it, and again, this is when we talk about Force, right? When they put the Eye of Agamotto back, and he's like, oh yeah, that's just an Infinity Stone in there. And you're like, this is how you're going to throw in the Time Stone. And you're like, yeah, by the way, that's an Infinity Stone. Come on, man. Come on. I'm sure you knew the whole time, but what
elements worked for you the most out of this one?
I really could not tell you off the top of my head what like really, really worked for me. I think they do magic very differently in this movie than I've seen in any other movie with magic, right? There's no wands, which great. Okay. Phenomenal. But like, it felt less like magic and more like it's like they made lightsabers out of thin air instead.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
Sure.
I mean? Very
Sure.
constructive.
There's
Like
almost more Green Lantern than anything else.
That would be
you have your constructs rather than invisible but impactful spell cast.
Great, yes, great comp there.
Yeah.
And it's a shame too because they were talking about weapons earlier in the movie, and obviously he gets the eye and he gets the cape, right?
Yep.
But at the same time, they don't like hit as hard. I'm so used to Doctor Strange in the comics saying crazy things, right? Like the Crimson Bands of Sidorak.
Yeah.
Every time he makes a move, right? Now, do I want to hear that per se? No. But I would like to see, I don't know. I would have liked to see that more mystical side of it rather than the construct side of it. So, because I also felt like, it was dimension shifting. You got the buildings all of a sudden just moving different ways.
Right.
And I'm sorry, it's hard to keep up with half the time.
Yeah.
Like it's just not it's not how I would handle magic. It's a different system that they wanted to make themselves different for. And I'm all for that because you can get a guy like Doctor Strange. And like we said, the Crimson Bands of Sidorak, it gets corny.
Yeah.
It 100% gets corny.
It can. Yeah.
Saying Agamotto 5 times fast, good luck.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing to get through if you're not prepared to get through. Like the average person watching that movie is going to be like, it's going to take them out of it for sure.
Yeah.
So I wish they would have leaned more into that. So, because visually it is very hard to keep up with for me. Anyways.
It's trippy.
It's trippy. So I'm trying to think of like the good pieces.
Yep.
Right. It was a unique way to beat the big bad villain, right? Where he just puts it in a time loop, which I remember getting memed to death when that movie first came out. But also I'm like,
the bargain.
Right. But also I'm like bummed out because it's like, I don't get to see Dormammu fight. Like again, they're building up Dormammu and saving him to be this really big bad, right?
Yep.
The only way they could beat him was a time loop.
Right.
But you don't really get a very satisfying end fight with Caecilius at all.
No.
So it's kind of like
Caecilius really gets shortchanged.
Right. And the fight when everything's going backwards, that's cool. Don't have a problem with that. But it's just, I don't know. That ending feels very, very cop-out-esque.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And then, like, I get with the photographic memory, he's supposed to just pick up on things very quickly.
Sure.
That fight in the ER, should have he won that? In theory, should have he won that?
No.
Probably not.
Yep.
Getting shocked by the...
Yep.
There's just some of that where I question it
a
little bit, right? Yeah. So, I don't know. It feels like I'm being very critical of this movie, but I don't know. This sits at a very meh. Like, I still watch this over Thor movies, most of Thor movies, right?
Yeah.
But I would not put it, I don't put it as high up as some other people would.
Yeah, I think, and I think your reaction is entirely fair. I think what the movie does a couple of things pretty well. Okay, not the best, but well enough to keep your attention. It's telling an origin story, which, as it turns out, there's not a lot of those that we get, particularly in Phase 3, right? If you want to rewind a little bit, like Ant-Man with Scott Lang was a pretty solid origin story, right? But we're not going to get another origin story in the MCU until we hit the Captain Marvel movie. So as far as a true, we're seeing how the character came into their power and came to be, right? So I think it does a pretty good job of navigating those potentially treacherous waters, right? Because we've seen our share of origin stories at this point, and it does an effective job at getting us to connect with Stephen Strange, because we can empathize. Like, man, he suffered a huge loss. He goes from what he had to nothing. And so he's obviously motivated and driven to regain that. The connection that he makes with Mordo is meaningful, right? And so their partnership is one of the more organic feeling elements of the movie, right? Is the connection that they have as Mordo is teaching and training, and then they're discussing the different philosophies that are essentially available for magic users and how far into the dark magic realm, so to speak, do you go, right? There's a lot of power there. Do you tap into it? Or like a Mordor, are you going, no, we're never touching that. So that is one of the best parts of the movie for me is I think you get to see a good, genuine relationship develop between Doctor Strange and between Mordo. That's great. I think it does a decent job at world building as well, right? It doesn't feel forced. Like when we get to Sanctum Sanctorum, because you have to answer the question of, okay, this has been in existence this whole time that we've been watching these movies. Why haven't we seen or heard, so on and so forth, of any of these sorcerers, right? Who have all this power and this ability? How have they been so hands off up to this point? And I think the movie does a good enough job at navigating that question. I don't think it necessarily answers it outright. It essentially answers it with the we're pretty hands off unless the world's going to explode, right? And that is a fun space to spend time in, the Sanctum Sanctorum, right? And to know that, hey, there's outposts throughout the world, right? You've got London, you've got New York. Is Hong Kong, am I remembering that right?
Yes.
Is that the third outpost that we
China.
get a piece of? Yep. So that element I think is really neat. I'm very much with you. I think where this movie struggles the most for me is in its tone. I think this movie could have done itself a huge favor at, by all means, sprinkling in the humor, but I think it tried its greatest sin, if you will, is that it tries to make Stephen Strange Tony Stark. And he's not. Never has been, right? He's not quippy. He's not witty. He's confident. That's true. So it does get a lot of elements of the character right. He's very confident. He's very self-assured to the point of being cocky. But he's very convicted as well. Humorous is not a thing that is not an attribute that has ever been attached to Stephen Strange in my mind in the comics. And so there's a reason why it feels so forced. It's like, it just doesn't work. Like Tony Stark, when he utilizes humor, like it's douchey, but it's also lovable. And you're going, that's a little harsh, Tony, but it's also hilarious. Like you're right enough. When Stephen Strange tries to utilize humor, it's just douchebag. Like that's all you're getting. You're not getting any
maybe that's
lovableness. Right. It's just him being arrogant, right? And saying, hey, I'm better than you, I'm better than you, I'm better than you, I'm better than you. It's like, okay, quit overcompensating, dude. So that's the part that I think from a tone perspective just really labors the most. And then you're absolutely right. Like they just are making constructs the whole time. I don't think they nailed down in a very helpful way the mechanics of their magical realm. Like the mirror dimension is just this trippy, just too opaque thing.
We can do whatever we want.
Right. You can essentially do whatever.
But you make them stronger here. And it's like,
yeah, it's too loose. There needs to be some groundedness of what you can and what you can't do. Like, where are the limits, right? Where are they? And they're never very well established. The piece with the Eye of Agamotto is fun. And as far as the manipulation of time, that's great.
Super cool.
That's a really neat mechanic. But the other greatest sin that the movie commits is it just doesn't provide a compelling enough villain. Like Caecilius's motivations are just, he doesn't like the Ancient One. He thinks she's full of it. Okay. That's just, we're told that. We're just not shown it in a compelling way.
Yeah. Like it brings me back to his conversation with Strange.
Yep.
In the New York Sanctum.
Yep.
And it feels very inorganic, that conversation.
Yep.
Because yes, he lost his family. Can't remember how, or if they even mention how he lost his family. So he's trying to get his family back. But
again, you're told, you're not shown. You got to show it.
There's not a lot to like feel bad for the guy. Not that you should feel bad for him. He's murdering people. Like he chopped a guy's head off in a library. That's not good. Dope scene, by the way, to set the tone for the character. And then that's probably his highlight. You
know where he stands.
Right.
He is willing to remove the heads.
And he stabbed another guy.
Yeah, he's not messing around. Rachel McAdams also gets brutally underutilized here. Like, that just felt borderline disrespectful to have her in this role. Like, she's phenomenal. She's a tremendous actress, and she's just there. She's
for
not
two
given
movies, by the way.
anything-
She's just there.
Yeah, she's not given anything of note to do. It just, why even have her in that role if that's what the role is going to be?
Yeah, somebody needs to give her a better role as well, because she. What I said about Mads also applies to her.
100%.
For sure. And
Yeah.
good point of bringing that up.
Yeah. I think on reflection, this is a question I asked myself. Like, okay, so 10 years later, what's the status of this character? Right? Like, there's so much potential with the Doctor Strange character. He obviously has had a part to play in the Avengers movies that follow, in the Spider-Man movie, No Way Home.
And Ragnarok.
Yep, a little bit in Ragnarok. But it's wild to me that he's been around for 10 years, and I still don't feel like Doctor Strange has been very appropriately defined or fleshed out. And even got a second movie, and it took a while for us to get to movie number 2. He just feels like he's kind of existing in a similar territory as the Hulk, where it's like, can we just get him right? And I don't think it's anything to do with Benedict Cumberbatch.
It's not.
Benedict's great. Like, he could and should be a good fit for the role. I think the biggest thing for me is stop trying to force the humor on him. Let him be cocky. Let him be confident. Let him take risks that he maybe shouldn't take because of his overconfidence. But also let him be really flippin' powerful. He should be.
Yes.
He should be. But quite frankly, when we hear him referred to as the Sorcerer Supreme, it's like, I'm not sure we've really been able to see the guy cut loose in a meaningful way, other than just the accidental misspell casting in the Spider-Man No Way Home movie. Maybe you can say, hey, did it work in Infinity War when he's, looking through all the various timelines? That's a pretty cool moment. I'll give him that. But I don't feel great yet about this character 10 years into his presence.
Well, I'd say they use him better in his non-movies.
100%.
Like, I feel like when he shows up in Thor 3, you're like, oh, he's actually like, Loki's not somebody we should have on Earth. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Dope.
And his fight scene with Thanos in Infinity War is outstanding. One of the best parts of that movie.
It is awesome. And then I even look at No Way Home, and he's pretty much telling Peter right off the rip, like, there are consequences to this. And he gets super mad when Peter screws him up. Right. Yeah. So there are consequences in that regard. Mm-hmm. So I think he does, he serves his purpose in those. Yeah. But then you go back to like his own, and there is just a clear disconnect. Yeah. And again, I don't know. So I agree with you. I'll be very curious to see how he does in Doomsday. Mm-hmm. Is he confirmed for Doomsday?
I'm assuming at this point that everybody's confirmed for Doomsday.
Because him and Doom's dynamic, whenever they're against each other, is super interesting. Yeah. So if that's done appropriately, awesome. Mm-hmm. But yeah, look, Doctor Strange in a weird way is supposed to be like your Gandalf, right? Sure. Like your big magic guy that shows up, and he's kind of your trump card in a sense. And he feels somewhat neutered at some point.
Again, like similar to the Hulk, where he's constantly getting neutered.
But like at weird points in time, he's getting neutered. Yes. Just like the Hulk, right?
Yes.
You're going to pick him getting beat by Thanos out the rip as his neutering moment. Yeah. You're just like, why? So, yeah, I would agree. It's a good comparison for both him and the Hulk in that regard, for sure.
I think, and what those two characters also have in common is, like, just give them great villains to go up against. Give them villains that can hang with them.
Well, and
they lack that.
And that's the struggle as well for Strange, because Caecilius, very meh. Yeah. Like, I forgot pretty much the entire plot of this movie until I watched it again, right? Yeah. It's forgettable.
It's very forgettable.
Dormammu, sick. Yeah. You established him as a big power, a big player. Never see him again. Yep. And then you pick Scarlet Witch as your villain in the second one, which bums everyone out. because she was this hero that all of a sudden is just
Heel turn.
fall from grace.
Yeah.
So
I'm oversimplifying it, but I do think that's like out of all the potential answers. Okay. And I'll even concede the tone piece. Keep having him try and be funny, but give him a villain that can go toe to toe with him on a regular routine basis. And I'm sorry, it cannot be him. It cannot be an alternate version of him.
No.
It's got to be an actual opponent. I think in general, when you get to these exceptionally powered heroes and beings, that's what they need that makes the story compelling, is give them a villain. And here's what Thor Ragnarok did very well. Hela was a hell of a villain. That was terrible wordplay. I'm sorry. I'm also not sorry.
He's
that's
a dad of
works.
six.
That's right. That's why it works. Like you got to let the villain freaking cut loose. It's the difference between why Thor Ragnarok works, among other reasons, and Thor the Dark World doesn't work. Give these characters that are exceptionally powerful. Don't nerf them. Don't neuter them. Put them through the grinder. Have them develop as characters. That's fine. But you've got to give them a villain that can take them down, that puts them at genuine risk. You don't have to throttle down their ability first. Just put hero and villain, yin and yang. They're right there together. And now you got the balance, and now you've got the conflict that you need to create a compelling story.
Yeah, Mordo should have definitely been the villain in the second one.
Yes.
For sure. That was a layup that they somehow bricked off the board.
Jeez.
And Dormammu for the third one.
Yeah.
Like, Dormammu should be the big bad of that franchise, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know what they do with the character moving forward.
Yep.
So,
yep.
And I'm not really like, oh my gosh, another one. Give me a third. No, I'm good with two, honestly.
Yeah. Agreed.
So.
Agreed. Anything else on the Doctor Strange front, my friend?
No.
Yeah.
Definitely worth a rewatch.
Yeah.
So we've pooped on it quite a bit. But like it's a solid like myth movie.
Yeah. Listen, it's good. And I'm not begrudging anybody that goes from no, you don't understand. It's not good. It's great. Good. I'm glad that people have that kind of a response to it. For whatever reason, it doesn't quite click there for me. And again, I think as much as anything, it just comes back to the villain. I think the character in and of themselves, they get more right than they do wrong. It's a great start for the character, which I think we see play out in Infinity War, a little bit in Endgame as well, in the Spider-Man movie. So there's potential there, but to your point, and it's absolutely on the button, the feature films have been the least impressive presentation of this character so far, where it's been his name on the title card.
Yeah, his growth is fantastic in the first one.
Yeah.
But yes, leaves a good spot for the character to move forward in. And it just,
Yeah. So enjoy me some Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yes.
What a guy. Okay, we're going to postpone any kind of summer talk for our next episode. I'm just going to drop a quick little nugget. Odyssey's coming out this upcoming weekend. Super stoked for that. I am ready for a 3-hour movie. That looks incredible. So excited to see it. Let's get into another classic, JP and the Beans, top 5. Today's top 5 will be our top 5 magic users in comics. Now, quick caveat here. I'm going to approach this very much in a personal way. And what I mean by that is these are going to be the top 5 characters that I have enjoyed the most, whether it be in the comics or in the films or a little bit of both. Truly that. Like I'm not presenting a top 5 most powerful, most formidable. This is who I've enjoyed the most so far in my comic character loving life.
This is how I approached it.
That's great.
I always interpret it as we're going to pick our favorites. I don't care about a power trip because look, then we talk about other characters and it's just like,
Yeah. Real quick, I just have to say before we get into this, how the heck are there so many doctors?
It's
that
annoying.
Get involved with magic.
It's really annoying because it shouldn't.
Elaine,
it shouldn't
either be a wizard or a doctor. You don't get to be both.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
It's fair. These are all fair
today.
criticisms.
I'm sorry.
No,
okay.
you're good.
All right. Means without further ado, you go first.
My number 5, out of just respect, I got Doctor Strange at 5. I know we just pooped on him a lot. Like we crapped all over his movies, but
really took a trip to negative.
He's solid because usually. And again, we talked about Infinity War doing a very good job of this. When he hits the screen, you're like, oh, here we go.
Yep.
We're getting a powerhouse.
Yep.
And he does it very, very well in that movie specifically, but in the comics as well. When Doctor Strange hits, you're like, oh, like we actually have a legitimate problem here, because if the Sorcerer Supreme has to step in and take care of business here, where are we going with this? So I know I gave him a lot of crap for all the random weird names that he has for his spells and stuff, but visually in the comics, also very fun to see, right? When it's done well, awesome. I've always loved the way that he does his magic, and I think that's probably partially why the movie doesn't hit as hard for me.
Yeah.
Because it feels like
too much of a governor on...
Well, it just feels like such a different thing that's happening, right? Yeah. So, give me Doctor Strange at 5.
Yep.
I also find it very intriguing when he loses the title of Sorcerer Supreme to just go earn it back. He's almost more fun chasing the title
that's fair.
than actually getting the title. Yeah. Very wrestling opinion of me, but that's just like, I don't know. There's sometimes he loses it. Like, he lost it to Doom recently.
I mean, he loses it more than any other character loses their mantle, right? Like, Tony Stark doesn't lose Iron Man as often.
No.
Right? T'Challa doesn't lose Black Panther as often.
And he's still Doctor Strange. He's just no longer
the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah,
it's a fun little nod there.
He's my number 5.
He's also my number 5. Like, I enjoy him for all the time in Negative Town that we spent. I do enjoy his character in the movies. Like, my qualms with him in the movies is very small, right? It's the humor piece that feels a little forced, but otherwise, I enjoy watching Benedict Cumberbatch portray him in the movies. And in the comics, one of my favorite comic series of panels is in World War Hulk, when Hulk comes back from his exile looking to wreak high holy havoc on the Illuminati, of which Doctor Strange is a member. And Doctor Strange does indeed channel the dark dimension and powers up in a big way to take Hulk down. Except it doesn't quite work. Tough.
He gets beaten in astral form, by the way.
His astral form gets annihilated, and then the real physical form also gets thrashed a wee bit. But it's a really great scene, and he in the most recent, like, Jonathan Hickman Avengers run, I say most recent, it's been about 10 years now for Hickman as well. He has a great role to play in the lead up to Secret Wars. His role in that Secret Wars comic is great. He's essentially Doctor Doom's consigliere, which is a fun twist, right?
Yeah,
that's really neat. That's a really neat, like, in these, like, what ultimately ends up being an alternate universe kind of take, except it's the Prime universe, so it's a fun dynamic to see. That was a really neat twist. Sorry, spoilers in that particular comic.
Yeah, it's a tough, like, knockdown for Strange.
It is.
He had the opportunity to be in Doom's spot.
That's right.
And he's like, no.
And Doom doesn't let him forget it either. He's like, you could have been here. You could have been here. You could have been here.
I'm going to overthrow you as soon as I get the opportunity to.
It's super fun. So Doctor Strange is also my number 5. My number 4 is Scarlet Witch. If you had asked me this same question not that long ago, there's no way she would have been on this list. But House of M is an iconic storyline with good reason. What I enjoy the most about her character, and it plays out so strongly in the comics in that storyline, is her chaos magic. And just as the name would suggest, it's completely flippin' chaotic. Like, she barely has control over it. And then there's more often than not where she just flat out doesn't. But the absolute chaos that ensues, that it inflicts, it's like the most irresponsible brand of magic that there is. And as a viewer who doesn't actually have to live in the consequences of her actions, it's wildly entertaining to observe, right? They also did a tremendous job with her character. If you want to cycle all the way back, circa 2020, with the Scarlet Witch and Vision show. Was that the title of the show? I'm just drawing a huge blank. Thank you, WandaVision. Wow, that was a mental fart. That show was great more than anything else for her character. Like, getting to see even more of her origin and the overall development of the character was tremendous. I enjoyed the heck out of that. Boy, she's been through a lot in those movies. That's tough.
And in the comics.
And in the comics, as it turns out.
You wonder why she's not stable. She's
Hard
gone
to
through a
figure.
lot.
Hard to figure. Yep. So
Her dad is Magneto, so that might not help either.
can't really be a good thing. So Scarlet Witch is my number 4.
Okay. My number 4, let me look at my notes here.
Mhm.
The DC equivalent of Doctor Strange,
There you are.
Dr. Fate,
Mhm.
at number 4. And what really wins me over with Dr. Fate is probably Black Adam.
Ooh,
Getting to see him in that movie,
Yeah.
right? Not again, talk about mediocre movie.
Not a good movie.
No, it's a meh movie. But Dr. Fate, when he shows up, like he is the end all be all.
Pierce Brosnan's Dr. Fate was way too much fun.
What a cool pull!
It was.
Like
It was.
underrated casting. Like I did. Now, did he die in that?
Yes. You know what we should do as a top 5 that'd be fun? Like top 5 best castings in bad movies.
Oh
In
yeah,
comics. That'd be a blast.
yeah, for sure.
There you go. Okay.
So, but and again, it goes along the same lines as Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
When Fate enters the premise, crap's about to go down.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think he's more compelling than Doctor Strange because he is completely at the mercy of the helmet.
Sure.
And we've seen 9 different people probably have the helmet. I couldn't even tell you who has the helmet right now or who's had it in the past.
Yeah.
It's always flexing.
Right.
And they never agree. And they're not always necessarily picking the good for the person. They're picking the good for what they deem good.
Yeah.
So I always have found that character far more interesting. And just, yeah. So he's my number 4.
That's great. Number 4. Your number 3.
My number 3. Oh, man. I left a guy off, but that's okay. Number 3.
It is okay. That used to happen a lot more frequently.
It
Remember
did.
that?
It did. We'll get into it after the list on who I forgot. Number 3, I have Etrigan.
Ooh.
I have Etrigan the Demon.
Yes.
Just because, and I've seen him in very little things.
Yeah.
But when I see him, is he ridiculous a little bit? Yes.
A little.
Like the rhyming, but weirdly it works.
Yes.
It does weirdly work. And when he shows up, you're like, that dude's a monster. I would love to watch him fight for like 25 minutes. And we still haven't seen him in the actual, like,
give him a live action.
Anything.
Yep.
But he's such a phenomenal character.
Correct.
And Jason Blood's lived forever, has he not? Because he's attached to Etrigan. So it's just, their dynamic is also very interesting. I love DC's take on magic just because there are always consequences.
Yep.
Always consequences.
Yep.
And that is such a big consequence
always a cost.
for Jason Blood.
Yeah.
Right? He's switching places with Etrigan.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he goes to hell during that point in time, correct? That's tough. That's a sacrifice.
Yep.
Right? And I don't think immortality makes up for it.
No, not so much.
So it's always fun to see Etrigan hit the big screen, not the big screen, but the comic book page.
Yeah, whenever he gets included, it's a plus. And never a subtraction.
Also, what a wild pull for a magic guy. That's not somebody you're looking at like magic.
Right.
So he just provides a very different outlet for said magic.
Totally agree.
So Etrigan's my number 3.
It's great. Number 3. My number 3 is Doctor Doom. Just haven't seen the reason he's at the number 3 spot just in terms of enjoyment for me. I've loved him in the comics. Like wherever he has been, he is a force, right? He's just an absolute black hole level of forcefulness. Like he cannot be a part of the story and not just have this exceptional gravity where he is impacting everybody else that's within his orbit at that point. So he's tremendous in the comics. We just haven't gotten a great live action version of Doctor Doom yet. Maybe we'll get that. But we won't even know until we see a trailer. I'm whining again. I'm sorry. But in the comics, his dynamic with the Fantastic Four is most tremendous. The culmination of that whole story that, again, culminated, double dip in there, in Secret Wars was an absolute treat, right? That was so much stinking fun to see Doctor Doom at the top, and with good reason. Like he earned that spot. He's just that villain that you can't kill, but you also don't want to see killed, right? You're like, yeah, let's get more of that guy, please. More.
Only villain that when he wins, the Earth is at peace.
It's true.
Think about that.
True. Yeah. He's not a chaotic villain. He's very much a controlled villain. Doesn't mean you want him to be in control, but he's not about the chaos. You're gonna know what the law of the land is. Whether or not it's good is another question, but Yeah, he's very much in control. So for me, Doctor Doom is number 3. My number 2, this is a little bit of a surprising one even for me, but when I again put this through the prism of enjoyment, Shazam is at number 2.
Wow.
For me.
Good pull.
Right? So this goes back a little bit. So go back to really young Jordan, 10, 11, 12. I latched onto a collection of what at the time was called Captain Marvel, okay? Because until DC and Marvel tussled over the Captain Marvel naming rights, that's what Shazam's character was called, was Captain Marvel. And those original comics, as he's battling Dr. Savannah and Dr. Savannah's family, and just the story of Billy Batson as an orphan, he links up with Freddy and with Mary, and they encounter Shazam the Wizard, just hooked me. I thought it was absolutely fascinating. And then fast forward, the Shazam character actually had a pretty fun time in the New 52 run. Okay, they really leaned into the boyish nature of Billy Batson. Interestingly enough, Shazam as a character has a really key role to play in the Kingdom Come story from back in the early 2000s that Alex Ross wrote that. But then the feature films, the first one I really, really loved. The second one was not a great movie, but I still enjoyed the character. I loved the expansion of the Shazam family. I loved the heart behind found family in that first movie in particular. And Zachary Levi brought such great energy to the role that I find myself saying, hey, Shazam's my number 2 as far as magic wielding characters that I enjoy or have enjoyed the most.
Fair.
So there you go.
My number 2 is Doctor Doom.
There you go.
Doom is my number 2.
Yep.
I think magic adds so much to his character because it goes to show that Doom will do anything he needs to do, learn anything he needs to learn to be the most powerful being on planet Earth. Right? I also think it gives him the edge to Mr. Fantastic because he knows Mr. Fantastic is smarter than him.
Yep.
So what's something that Reed can't do? It's magic. That puts him over the edge, right? We've seen him use magic to turn Ben against him because he's like, I can cure you of your rock problem, right? And you can be normal again. And that's worked for a little bit before.
Yeah.
And I already brought up the other piece with Doom, just with Earth being at peace when he's in charge.
Yeah.
Right? It works out to an extent. I just think Doctor Doom as a whole is a very fascinating character. And I think he knew magic even before he made himself a doctor. And like when he was, I think that's part of his origin is magic. So it's followed him throughout the whole thing. So to me, it just adds such an interesting facet to his complexity as a villain.
Right.
So, and I know he was just Sorcerer Supreme for a little bit in the comics, which I think is fun and hilarious for him to be because he's rubbing that in Strange's face that he stole it from him. So
not very subtle.
No. So I've got Doom at 2. Doom is like top 3 villain for me all time. 100%. So
he's great. Your number 1, sir.
My number 1, this might surprise you. I don't know. I have Constantine at number 1.
Okay. No, I didn't see that coming.
Because
good for you.
What I said earlier about DC, there's always consequences to one's actions. Constantine always manages to get out of his own consequences.
That's true.
By compacting it on with other promises and consequences
that will come due.
Yes. Yeah. He always just finds a way to put the bill on somebody else. It is always genuinely entertaining when Constantine comes on the screen or in the book. Right? I enjoyed him in the Injustice series as well because he wanted to stay out of it for as long as possible, and then he has to be a part of it. Then, instead of helping finish it off, he finds his point of being like, okay, I'm done. And he escapes with the goal that he had being accomplished. So I've always enjoyed Constantine because he's a character that's always looking out for himself. Not a true hero, not a true villain either, right? Because he still lives in the world. He wants it to be alive, right? But it's just, he's a very fun wild card to have. And when you add a magic user to the wild card slot, sky's the limit, in all honesty. So I've got Constantine at 1.
It's a great number 1. He's such a weird comic character, but it works constantly. And he's one of those characters where the tone of his persona has been so consistent, so steady throughout. And it's something I appreciate is that different authors will come in and they don't mess with it. They're like, this is just who Constantine is. And it says something about the strength of his character that they can just live in that space and not feel like they have to mess with it.
Agreed.
It's great. My number one is Loki. This has a lot to do with the Loki show. Okay, that for me was phenomenal. But even before then, in the movies, the progression of that character was absolutely tremendous. Extremely worthwhile. The show somehow found a new depth that I didn't think was possible. The world building that it did was great, but just for that character, the progression that he went through, the willingness that he demonstrated to sacrifice. I mean, I remember in the second season in particular, as we're getting into the final stages of Loki trying to solve the problem of the entire universe imploding and the number of years that it costs him to try and effort and re-effort and re-effort to save the universe is incredible. Now, in the comics, he's a tremendous foil for Thor. And one of my favorite elements of his character as a villain is that he's never trying to just go mano-a-mano with Thor. He knows that magic is his best move. He knows that his cleverness is his other best move. And he's always using that to think and plan one step ahead and to deceive and mislead others. So many other beings, right, and characters in comics use magic as a blunt object. Loki is always using it as a getting around, never on a straight line, always getting around, bending, bobbing, and weaving. And he's ahead of everybody. He's not just ahead of Thor, he's ahead of everybody else. It's wild. That makes, for me, Loki number one.
Yeah, our number ones are very similar.
They are.
In that route. I did not have Loki on here, and I think it's just because I look at all the other people that I have, I lean towards the powerhouses.
Yes.
I just do.
Yes.
And Loki is very much, I just look at him like, oh, he's illusions for the most part. So he uses a different kind of magic 100%. That works 100%. Super well for him.
Yep.
And it's just, I guess for me,
very different style.
Yes. And that style, I guess I just do not connect with as well. Loki, phenomenal character.
Totally. Hard one for me that I couldn't quite get on here was Wonder Woman. Like, her character is very magic adjacent. Yes. She's just, like, she will use magic, and we talked about, the absolute Batman run. The absolute Wonder Woman version has leaned even more into that magic, which has been fun. But it's just rarely like the primary reason that she's doing what she does. But
yeah, sure.
I
was going to do Juggernaut, but he's probably magic adjacent as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I get that. That's cool. Great. Beans, anything else for the good people?
No, that's it. That's all I got.
Thanks so much for watching and or listening, folks. We appreciate you.
On that note, Godspeed.
Peace.